I hadn't seen her since college. I remembered the time we'd stayed up all night during finals week sharing a pack of Marlboro Lights as we fired exam questions at each other in the common room. Rose knew all the answers, even after 3 a.m., which is when my cognitive faculties shut down. Later that morning, Rose's makeup-free face looked so serene, blonde ringlets endearingly messy, that my roommate asked if she'd had her hair styled, and I just laughed. If I were a different kind of person, I might have hated Rose. But it was never like that between us. After getting an A on the test, she'd written to me that she wouldn't even have passed without our last-minute study session. Rose was the only person who knew me in Scotland, and even she didn't know what I'd done. It was 2006. I was 23, and I had plans, which began with leaving the old me back in Boston. On a damp afternoon in late August, I stepped off the train and into my new life. St. Stephen's is perched on a hill above the North Sea, granite bulwarks relentlessly battered below by raging, freezing water. Many of the buildings appear medieval, but are in fact neo-Gothic, with towering spires, pointed arches, and mock fortifications. The color gray defines the architecture, the weather, and the town's character. St. Stephen's is famous both for having been a center of the Reformation and for being home to the revered 600-year-old university. St. John's Quadrangle constitutes the oldest preserved part of the campus, where on sunny days, students sit on benches flanked by ornate 15th century buildings and watch the ivy crawl up and down the facades. St. Stephen's boasts one of the most competitive history departments in the world. But what had drawn me to the university was the opportunity to work with Madeleine Grangier, French feminist extraordinaire, expert on the soft power that women wielded in European courts during the 16th century. Grangier spoke 6 languages fluently and had made waves in my field. She was a recent hire who had been at St. Stephen's for only 2 semesters. The morning after my arrival, I dressed carefully for my meeting with Professor Grangier. Not that I was trying to impress her, but maybe I wanted to seem more European than American. I had read somewhere that the act of smiling sent signals to the brain that make you feel happy, so I tried in front of the mirror. Then I walked to the history department, weaving through the corners of the quad, rehearsing what I wanted to say to my new advisor. 3 streets south of the quadrangle, I found the red brick history building, sandwiched between sandstone houses. Entering through an iron-barred gate, I climbed 4 flights of stairs and found Professor Grangier's office at the end of the hall. I knocked lightly, and the door was opened by a gray-haired man in a burgundy sweater. When he saw me, the flat expression on his face rearranged itself. Professor Endicott? I recognized the chair of the department from the website, and numerous book jackets. I reached out my hand to shake his, which he did not offer in return. Isabel Henley, I greatly admire your work. It's a pleasure to meet you. Right, nice to meet you too. He looked over my shoulder as he said, "Do come in." He gestured with his hand. "Please sit in one of those chairs by the fire, Miss Henley." I slipped off my coat and sat down. "When did you arrive?" "I flew in from the States yesterday. Is this not Professor Grangier's office?" He pushed his glasses up his nose. "Did you receive our email?" "No, but I changed my email address about a week ago. I probably should have alerted someone." He pursed his lips before continuing. "Ms. Henley, I have some very sad news. Just last week, Professor Grangier lost her footing while hill walking and suffered a fall. A fatal fall." The room blurred out of focus for a few seconds. "What?" "I'm so sorry. Madeleine's death has been a tragic shock to us all. We've arranged for you to study with me, which I hope will be satisfactory. I was impressed by your application and the academic achievements described therein." I gripped the armrests on the chair. "Yes, of course. I look forward to working with you, Professor Endicott." He continued speaking, but the only thing I heard was a low drone as I considered what he'd just told me. He looked at me expectantly. "Well then, please tell me about yourself." "In college I read French and history," I said. "I worked in the archives in Paris and on Franco-Tuscan relations." Endicott glanced at the door, then back to me. I heard a knock and exhaled. "Come in."